Peace and love, and welcome to Black Diamond Worldwide Outreach. Today we are continuing our talk on faith as it is the month of faith. And today I want you to remember to always let faith be the light of your life. But in order for this to happen, you have to allow the process to take place. You have to allow faith to be the light. So that's our first affirmation today. Put your fists in the air and affirm as loud as you can. I now allow faith to be the light in my world. And just open your mind, open your heart, your soul, your body, your life. Affirm again. I now allow faith to be the light in my world. Because we are coming off the week of Burning Bowl, and people say, okay, my desires are up in the air. We had the Burning Bowl. What is next? What is next is allowing faith to be the light in your life. You have to remember that you are the light of the world, right? The Bible says we are the candle of the world, and a candle is not to be hid, but to put on something where the whole world can see it. So as we allow ourselves to be the light of the world, we must allow that light to shine unapologetically. I'm also reminded of, because when we talk about light, we also have to talk about darkness and shadows, right? I pray today that you allow the light to be greater than the darkness. You allow the light to be greater than the shadows that come into your life. That you allow the light to shine so brightly that it can never be diminished or extinguished by any external force in your world. The Bible tells us in James chapter 1 verse 17, in God, this is from the Amplified Version, in God there is no variation, no rising or setting, or shadow cast by turning, as in an eclipse. So it is important for us to know because, when we talk about faith and when we talk about light, being the light of the world, we also have to talk about fear. We would love to say that we are ready for faith, we have all the faith, we have all the belief, but we must also remember that these faculties that we're talking about, right? This month we're talking about faith, but there are 12 faculties that we work with every month throughout the year: faith, love, strength, wisdom, power, imagination, understanding, will, order, zeal, renunciation, and life, right? These faculties have to be cultivated within us. So today this month, we're going to talk about faith, right? We are born with faith, but it can be difficult in the usage, right? This is why we're talking about these faculties. We're all born with it inside of us, but it is the working out of these faculties that is really the important thing that we must look at in life. We must realize that faith is a continuum, right? We're born with faith, but it has to keep growing. We have to keep working our faith, using our faith in order for it to be realized and cultivated in our world. So the question I have for you today is, what is your faith default setting? Okay? What is your faith default setting? Because you can have faith in your good, or you can have faith in your bad, right? It's all the self-fulfilling prophecy, but the question really is, what side do you want to end up after your prayer, after your meditation? Who do you want to be? Some people are so busy having a dress rehearsal for failure. They have faith in their failure. That is why we have to let faith be the light and not the darkness. So many people, they're trying to beat vulnerability to the punch, right? They don't want to get exposed. They don't want to get too much into themselves in order to express what they really need to express. But that is the only way that we can move on to the next step. So when we're talking about faith as a continuum, faith as a constantly moving something, we also have to think, what is my faith default setting? What do I have faith in myself for? Hopefully, friends, today it is for your good. It is for your life. It is for your health. It is for right relationships. It is for all the good in the world. So as we cultivate faith, we know that we are moving towards something greater, better, and wonderful in our lives. Fist in the air, affirm with me, I cultivate faith in my life. I cultivate faith in my world. I want you to imagine being the light, right? The first thing I think about when I think about light, I think about sunshine, right? When the sun is up. It's crazy how a couple of days ago we had a snowstorm in the New York, New Jersey area, and it was dark and, all this stuff. And then the next day, it was such a beautiful day, right? After a storm, the skies are clear and it's beautiful. There's a beautiful sunrise, sunset. So that's what I think about when I first think about light. But let's consider in our imagination being a candle in the middle of a room, right? If you put a candle in the middle of a dark room, it illumines the whole room. It illumines everything. And if we can imagine ourselves being the candle in the middle of the room, illuminating the room, right? And within that room, there are shelves that we store life on, right? We store our peace, we store our relationships, our health, our experiences, right? Everything that we could ever face or have faced or gone through is in this room on the shelves. Now, if you think about someone entering that room and walking towards that light, right? There is a shadow that is cast, whereas everything behind that person walking up to the light, there's a shadow behind it. Now, if we can metaphorically translate this analogy into life, right? We are the candle, the room is life. The shelves that we put our life on our experiences, the shelves that are the things that we're dealing with. What we put on the shelves are the things that we're dealing with. And the people in our lives can tend to cast a shadow. But the question is, are we allowing them to do so? Are we allowing people to come into our lives with their darkness and diminish our light? Know that in this room, in this life that you are living today, you are the light. And it can never be extinguished. It can never be dimmed. It can never go away. So this is how we work with our burning bowl, right? As our desires are out in the air and we're beginning to experience, we're beginning to change our mind and our lives to really receive these wonderful blessings that we have put out into the universe. It can be difficult. This is why, again, we have to cultivate faith, right? Because it can be difficult to move on from certain experiences. People don't go anywhere in life because they're still holding on to anger and depression and being despondent in their life. They're still holding on to broken hearts. They're still holding on to failed relationships and false starts, right? They're still holding on to these things. But the question is, or the next step, I should say, is we overcome when we decide that we've been mad enough. So that's the question I have for you. If you're still holding on to these things, how long are you going to stay mad for? Have you stayed mad enough? Is there a time limit? Are you putting a time limit on the anger that you have? Whatever the experience is, have you been mad long enough? Could you be madder longer, right? Would you be mad from this point? I don't care if it happened yesterday. It is time to move on. It is time to get over it. It is time to work with faith, knowing that the experiences that you have let melt into your consciousness and your life and your soul and your body and your social world, all these experiences are for our highest good. Friends, you will be just fine without the shadows. You will be just fine without the anger. You will be just fine once you start putting yourself together. So today, know that as you are putting yourself together, you stay as the light in the world. You stay as the light that removes all dark places, all dark energy, all dark movements and experiences from your world until you become nothing but light. Friends, I see this for you. I see you moving on from strength to greater strength. I see you moving on from light to bigger and greater light. Affirm with me, put your fist in the air. I always remain the light of my world. One more time, I always remain the light of my world. Now, not someone else's world, your world. You can only be the light of your world. So remain as that light. One important thing that we have to realize as we're talking about being the light, walking in the light of faith, is we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Let's define vulnerability. The Oxford Dictionary defines vulnerability as the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. Listen to those words. It is the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. But there are some people that would rather be hurt physically than emotionally. There are some people that would rather, take a licking on a football field or in a race or something than feeling their feelings within themselves. But that is the only way that we will accomplish our good. That is the only way that we will see faith working in our life. We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We have to allow our healing to be vulnerable. We have to allow our faith to be vulnerable. Brené Brown, I'm bringing up Brené Brown again. If you don't follow Brené Brown, you need to get with her, right? Brené is just like Renee, but her name is spelled B-R-E-N-E, Brené Brown, like the color B-R-O-W-N. Brené Brown reminds us that faith minus vulnerability and mystery is extremism. I'll say that again. Faith minus vulnerability and mystery is extremism. Listen, if you think that you know the answer, if you think you know how life is going to play out, you have your goals, but the way that you get to those goals are going to differ from how someone else gets to their goals. So as you're putting your desires out into the universe, the question always is, do you see yourself in faith? Are you open to the mystery and the vulnerability that these experiences will bring into your life? If you think that you have all the answers, if you think you know how life is going to play out, then you cannot call what you do faith. You're not leaning on anything. The scripture says, lean not on your own understanding. You have to lean on the force within you, the force of the all-universal goodness within you. As you do this now, you are no longer a rebel without a cause. You go from extremism to enthusiasm. You are no longer thinking about the failure, about the doubt, about the lack. You are moving from extremism to enthusiasm. And this is what I see for you today. I see you moving forward in vulnerability, in the mystery, getting down and deep and dirty. Yeah, you're going to get dirty in your mess, in the things that you've accumulated, in the negation that you've allowed to soak into your soul. I believe that you are rising above that. I believe that the darkness that these situations have created is now diminished in your light, in the presence of who you are, in the presence of your God self, The question is, do you? Do you see it for yourself? Do you see good things happening in your world? People talk about being an enthusiast, right? I can't think of anything. I think like back in the day, I was a Janet Jackson enthusiast, right? I would say right now, maybe I'm a, I don't know, bacon cheeseburger enthusiast. I don't know. But when we talk about being enthusiastic about life or being an enthusiast about something, are you enthusiastic about your faith? Are you a faith enthusiast? Even more so, are you a you enthusiast, right? Are you excited about you? Are you excited about your vision? Are you excited about your mind? Are you excited about the relationships and the faith that you're cultivating in your world? I pray this for you. If this is not you, start affirming with me. Put your fist in the air and say, I am a faith enthusiast. I am a me enthusiast. I am enthusiastic about life. And maybe the word enthusiastic doesn't roll off your tongue, right? So maybe let's say, I am excited about me. Louder and louder still. I am excited about me. And the last point I want to leave with you today is about seeking help. I think that everyone should be in therapy, right? I think that we all should seek therapy or some kind of a healthy outlet. I think that it's important for us to exercise. That's a healthy outlet. But it's also important for us to talk to someone that we can trust. You know that we are here for you here at Black Diamond Worldwide Outreach. We are always here online. We can do FaceTime. We can do Zoom. We can do whatever you want to just so that you can get it out. People don't realize that the mind is a spiritual muscle that must be exercised in ways that will make it grow and flourish. Just like any other muscle, it has to be exercised. The mind is a muscle. And as we go through therapy, right, whether, again, however you can talk these things out, however you can get your therapy and your healing, you must go through that. You must exercise that right in your life. It is just like going to the gym. You can't exercise your arms and expect your legs to grow, right? You have to exercise the muscle, and that is what therapy for me has given me, right? It allows me to exercise my mind. It allows me to understand the science of my mind, the science of how I think, how I react, what I do, how I use experiences in my life to move on to the next step. So, your mind is just as important a muscle to exercise as anything else, and so is your faith. Again, your faith has to be cultivated. And as you cultivate your faith, as you exercise your faith, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Again, when you're working faith, when you're using faith in your life, use it for the good. Do not have a dress rehearsal. And you know, it's always good. People say it's the Scorpio in me, right? When I'm faced with a challenge or whatever it is, I try to look at all sides of the equation. But you really can't do that within yourself. As you're talking to people about things, you get their perspective, something that you may not have even thought about. But again, you have to have that vulnerability to let it go, to let it be released into the universe. And as you do that, you're constantly exercising that spiritual muscle in your life. So today, let the light within you shine in your world. Let the light of faith envelop your mental health. Let it fill your spiritual health, your physical health, your social health, right? The last couple of years, we've been talking about social responsibility, whether we wear a mask or not, whether we should get vaccinated or not, right? We're talking about that social. Let us have faith that the light within shines in any of the dark places in our life, in any of the confusion in our life, as we allow faith to be our light. Let's put our fists in the air and do this last affirmation. Affirm as loud as you can. The light within me shines in my mental health. The light within me shines in my spiritual health. The light within me shines in my spiritual health. The light within me shines in my social health. Friends, let faith be the light, and let that light be the goodness that you want to accomplish in your world. You can do it. You can face it. Again, you've been mad long enough. You've been depressed long enough. It's time to brush your shoulders off. It's time to stand up on your own 2 feet with the all-universal force and know that you are strong for any challenge. You are stronger than any challenge. You have a force, this all-universal force behind you. Don't let it go to waste. Don't let it go by the wayside. Let it stand with you. Matter of fact, let it be your feet. Let it be your strength. Most of all, let it be the light in your world. Don't forget to visit us online at blackdiamondworldwide.org, or you can visit us on Facebook and Instagram at Black Diamond Worldwide Outreach. We are here for you. And as you join Facebook and Instagram, you will get weekly inspirational quotes and affirmations during the week. We are all in this together. And as we support one another in this great and wonderful world, in this great and wonderful experience that we're all having in life, we can help each other overcome. We can help each other remove the darkness of depression and live in this great and wonderful faith as this great and bright and illuminating light. Be the light. Let faith be the good light in your world, leading you into that which is for your highest good. I love you. Be blessed.